into my doctor's surgery at the age of 41, feeling like with this overwhelm and just really struggling with like my mental health and not being able to function like
Yeah.
I was. And it was kind of like brushed off. And I was given antidepressants, which I took because I just would have taken anything at that point, just to get some like respite. And I've got children who were like at school, and said there was lots of things that could cause overwhelm. Um, but it was 4 years later that it was recognised that my
Wow.
symptoms of perimenopause. So I walked into the doctor's surgery at the age of like 40, 41, feeling overwhelmed. And I'd already started to have irregular periods. I'd already started to struggle with my sleep. I had headaches. Um, and then, so I went with the overwhelm. I'd mentioned different things. I'd noticed my weight. So I'd noticed that normally what would enable me to lose weight. So I was like, if you're going on your holiday. So you're
Yeah.
going on your holiday, and just like the minute I hit 40, it was like, okay, I'm going on holiday. So a couple of weeks before, I like, cut the carbs and all that kind of stuff, and then half a pound, and half a stone, gone.
Wow.
No, that wasn't happening. I was like, oh
Really?
my God. Yeah, no. So I started, that was like a signal. So I've got all these other little things going, and then my bleeding went from being sporadic to horrific. It's really, really bad. Um, and so I'm talking to them. I'm having my antidepressants increased because they don't seem to be like doing what they need to do. So they're being gradually increased. And then I've got all this other stuff going on. And then I go to them with the bleeding. And it's literally like textbook. It's textbook of all of the symptoms.
Yeah.
And yet when I said I'm perimenopausal, they said, no, you're too young.
Yeah.
and, and so I had the Marina coil fitted, which I mean even that, I wasn't offered it. Nobody offered me a solution for my bleeding,
Oh,
really.
really?
Like, they were giving.
So you had to ask for that too?
So I went to them
Okay.
and said, I didn't ask for the Marina coil because I mean, I think I mentioned to you previously, the irony is that I had the copper coil fitted after having Louis. So at 37, I had the copper coil fitted because I didn't want to mess about my hormones.
How ironic.
I know, the irony. And so I suddenly like was sat with my mum, and we were in Birmingham in Selfridges having a lovely day, but I was bleeding. I was having a hot
Yeah.
flush at the time. I
Gosh.
was like, I was like, it's a bit warm in here. And she's like, no.
Yeah. Just you.
Yeah, I know. And I was like 43 or something at this point. So, and I said, oh, do you know what? Actually, the copper coil can increase your bleeding. So it might not solve it, but if I have that removed and look at an alternative, at least I might not be as bad, because I was bleeding for like 4 to 6 weeks at
Yeah.
a time, and really heavily. So I approached the doctors, and they said, oh, yeah, we can do that. There's no proactivity, is there really? It's such a shame. They're good people, I know they are, but um, so they said, yeah, okay, suggested the Marina coil, which I'd never wanted because I'd heard about weight gain on those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Ugh." But um, I did it because I was like, oh, you know what? Let's just go for it. And the great thing with that was that it did solve it.
Okay.
So that did solve my bleeding. But then the weight gain did then pile on.
So is that
Like,
when you started noticing a difference in sort of your body and your
I'd
weight increase?
already like started to increase, and
Okay.
like I say, before a holiday I wasn't losing it. So what would normally work to lose the weight wasn't working, but the weight after the Marina coil there did seem to be like an escalation at that point.
You've got an imbalance anyway. There's going to be a trigger of something, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. So I had the Marina coil fitted, and still then on antidepressants, still too young to be perimenopausal. And it wasn't until the February, March, 3 years ago. So I turned 45 in the September, and I was honest, I was literally, like I said, I had a breakdown. It was just horrific. I was so over, the weight was like nothing I'd ever known in my life. It's so many different things because you can't function, you don't look the same way, your body, I've got no energy, like no I had no motivation to exercise. I love exercise. I've always done exercise. I just couldn't face it. It wasn't like a laziness. It was just
Exhaustion.
exhaustion, no
Yeah.
stamina. Like I could do it. I'd ache as well, so it really made me ache because of obviously all the aching joints. And so I was just a catalogue of symptoms. Had the breakdown. Somebody said to me, it was a school mum. A school mum said to me, Mel, you've mentioned before you're perimenopausal. I think I'm looking at HRT at the moment. That might be something that is suitable for you. I rang the doctor because at that point in time, I was looking to switch to a different antidepressant.
Okay.
So I'd tried, I was like, what can I do? Now, and this is what's so frustrating. I'd been to them with all of these different things. I had all of these different symptoms. I had swelling in my hands. So my hands were swelling up and I was supposed to be going for tests for that. My medical records were just perimenopause, literally like big stamp on it. Oh, I think I need to look at HRT rather than switching antidepressants. And he said, oh, yeah. You're 45.
So that's a magic number, isn't it? To